All right. Welcome, lovely listeners, to yet another episode of the European Herpetoculture podcast. And we're back again with our lovely guest, Rayane, with the promised part two of last episode, where we want to focus more on your Morocco project. So, my lovely co-host Flo is also here. Welcome.
Alright.
How are you guys? Everything fine? Nice to see you again.
Everything fine. I mean, happy to be here
Yeah,
and
everything's
glad some
smooth.
people are listening to this.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. I'm actually pretty excited because I also don't really know what's up with this whole project. So, so it's gonna be also new for us. I mean, we
Yeah.
kind of know because we shared a little bit, but I think I haven't seen like the website and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, maybe for us and for the listeners. I think for a quick reminder for the listeners, maybe this episode would be interesting to watch on YouTube because we're going through his website, and I think it's just nice to take a look at it and see yourself what he's done. Yeah. So, what's like the whole Morocco project is about?
Okay, so maybe for the people who didn't listen to the first podcast, I'm Ryan. I'm a photographer. My thing is white background photography. I'm also Moroccan. I'm deeply connected to the country. I like its fauna very, very much. And this whole project came about when I was looking for a purpose for my white background pictures. And I would say that at first, I didn't think making nice white background pictures with wild animals was possible. And then one comes across reptiles of Ecuador. And then all of a sudden, everything seems possible. And that's basically how it went. And from the captive animals like Flus and Yaloides, or Benz, who's not here today, Loris, we went and tried our best with wild animals, and that's a different experience. That's a very nice one, and that's basically the story behind this project. Finding a purpose for white background pictures and trying to extend deeper into the connection to the wildlife, not to the captive wildlife.
Hmm.
Maybe that's how I would phrase it as an opener. What do you guys
Yeah,
think about this quick picture?
man, it's good.
Good.
I like it. I mean, we
Yeah,
already
okay.
know what's up, but
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
this was
So,
freestyle, man. I didn't know what where it was going, so I'm
no,
glad.
it
Yeah,
was
sounds good.
it was good.
Okay, cool.
So, when you when the idea comes to your head, like in the beginning, what was like the vision behind like this project? It's also like, mm, how did you want to approach it? Like the whole thing? Maybe walk us through how you like came up with ideas and inspiration and stuff like that.
Okay, so I think the first idea was to try and achieve white background photography for all the reptile and amphibian species in Morocco. This was the first idea. It didn't have much behind it. I think quickly we were like, okay, let's make a book out of it.
Mm.
But good books exist about the Morocco herpetofauna. There are many, many good resources online. So this was not an option because it doesn't make sense to make something that's already been done pretty nicely. So then we were like, okay, maybe we can help update the existing literature resources, providing nice pictures, maybe helping on the scientific level. Because I failed to mention it, but this project is not only mine, it's also a couple of my friends' projects, one of which is a biologist. So we have this opportunity to take the things a little bit deeper than just photography, because he knows, he has all the methodology to provide and to create, well, scientifically relevant content, I would say. But where was I? So yeah, okay. The idea was a book. Then we're like, okay, but it doesn't make sense to make a book. Maybe we can just like provide the pictures to update what's already existing.
Mm.
And then after making some more research, we realized many, many things of very high quality exist for educated people, for interested, passionate people like you and me, pretty much, for people who already have a background in this and who will look for more information
Mm.
and will not be scared by the amount of details and scientific references and stuff like this. So we're like, okay, so there is actually a niche to fulfill, and that is to make this wonderful fauna that Morocco has more accessible, not only to the already interested people, but also to the maybe less educated about fauna people, and to maybe spark an interest, create something in their mind that gets them to want more about this, to get interested into what Morocco has to offer besides the usual tourism that it offers to all the people who go there. And maybe through this, inspire on the long run more conservation efforts and maybe a deeper appreciation of Morocco's nature. Because honestly, maybe it's still maybe it never was, but it's a very popular country when it comes to tourism in Africa.
Mm.
And very, very, very few people go there to look for animals. When actually, I mean, until very recently, it had lions, leopards, caracal, many, many big carnivores that went extinct since, but there is still many gazelles that are wild. In semi-wild areas, there's quite a bunch of antelope species, ostriches also. And when it comes to the herpetofauna, most of the species are still extant. Many are endangered, and I think it's the right time to act and try and shine some light on the threats. So that's the whole lion on the flow screen. That's
Yeah.
the whole, I would say, ethical, purpose-driven idea behind this. And then if I'm a bit more pragmatic, I like what I do. I like photographing species. And this project is a way for me to maybe try and make a living out of this kind of initiative. Because I'm nearly done with my studies. I don't want to work in an office. This is fun. This is nice. I like being in the field. So maybe this will be my way to step into the real game.
Mm.
Is there,
Man, that
can
was a long
you,
talk.
oh, sorry,
No,
can you give
man.
us a little time frame when you, so on the first episode, you told us when you, how you started, when you started, what got you into photography. Can you give us a little time frame when you started with this particular project? How long have you been working on it until today, where you sit here and present us the website?
That's a good question. So 2019 was my first time with a camera. Then I would say 2021 was when I started doing photography of animals more seriously. 2022, I think I started the white background thing pretty seriously. And I would say maybe end of 2022, we already had the idea with Colin, who's the biologist of the team, to go to Morocco, but he broke his arm, so we didn't do it.
Mm.
And a year later, we started working on the idea. So I would say maybe end of 2023, because yes, our first field trip was in April 2024. So I would say it's close to a year and a half in the making now. First step was to go and experience how it was to find the animals, to make the pictures. A lot to learn. It's very different with captive animals for obvious reasons.
Mm.
Second step was to get to know the environment, the challenges, and a step at a time, you just create a protocol, a technique, and you keep basically ticking the species, I would say.
Where you
That's
like,
the time frame for now, 1 year and a half, and we're expecting to work on it our whole lives, I think,
mm,
because it can never be done anyway. I'm not sure what you guys
yeah.
think.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can now you build the base layer and then you can stack it up and make it even more crazy. I mean, you can go like in the directions also with mammals, birds, and stuff like that. To be honest, I also didn't know that like Morocco has like this much wildlife to offer because I've never been like really interested in like these more like desert type of countries. I was more into the tropics. But man, it's really crazy. It's so impressive. Also, a lot of cool species as well. That was that
I
is
would
for
say
me.
it's very diverse.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
it's super
many,
diverse.
many habitats allow for many, many niche to be fulfilled, I would say.
Hmm.
So you have desert, you have some saline plains, you have some very, very high altitude adapted species. Then you have the Mediterranean, which is pretty much the same fauna as in Spain or in the rest of the whole basin.
Mm,
So vipers, salamanders, or rocky species, I would say. And then
yeah.
on the mammal hand, you have monkeys. We have monkey species. You have some antelopes. You have those very small mammals I like very much. The sengis, those
Mm, mm,
mm, mice-looking elephant relatives.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, quite a bunch of nice stuff. We have porcupines. People in the
Oh,
north of
really?
Morocco, they just hunt porcupines, and they're fucking huge.
Yeah, I
Okay,
didn't know
crazy.
that.
A lot to learn here on the
Yeah, for real.
Moroccan fauna. Super cool.
And
When you go
bird-wise, it's
like,
even crazier, I think.
really? A
You
lot of
have
diversity
vultures,
in birds?
eagles.
Mm.
Yeah, do you know what a Lammergeier is? I think that's the
Mm.
German name.
How is it called?
How?
Lammergeier, the biggest vulture in
Ah,
Europe.
yeah, Lammgeier.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah, 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 yeah. I
I
know
think
which
I
one
know
you mean.
this one.
My pronunciation was that bad. Uh,
Ah,
but yeah,
Lämmergeier. Bartgeier
yeah, okay,
or
yeah,
Lämmergeier.
Yeah, yeah, they are dope looking as
Yeah,
well.
they're cool.
yeah. Well, there's some both in Switzerland and Morocco. But imagine seeing them in Morocco. You know, it's not the same scenery. It's the rock is much more red.
Yeah. So how do you approach
Super
it
cool.
when you go down there with photographing the animals? Are you planning on like, okay, this week we're gonna do like trying to look for desert species and next time we're gonna look for high altitude species, or is it more like, yeah, okay, now I'm here, now I'm trying to go all over the place and look for stuff? I mean, you have to be very strategic about it because you only have like a limited amount of time at the moment because you're studying. So it has to be like very well planned, planned out. No.
Cat
Sorry.
is always. Oh, it's fine. Uh, okay, so I would say the first trip was pretty much a mess because we wanted to see everything.
Okay.
But that's also, I would say, quite a normal mistake to make because it's the first trip. You
Mm.
want to see everything because you've never seen anything. And the more we go, the more targeted it is, I would say. And also, it highly depends on the seasons. For instance, if you go in winter,
Mhm.
options are very limited, but it's the best time for salamanders. Can also be the best time for many, many frog species, toad species, I should say, actually. Then, if you go in October, it's the best time for many snakes for very specific area by the coast. For people who know Morocco, south of Agadir, there is quite an interesting habitat that's very humid, and that's the best time to find cobras because in at the end of September, beginning of October, the offsprings start to disperse, and you
Mm.
have better chances of finding said species. I don't know if you go like middle of August, you have very very low chances of finding species because it's just too warm. For example,
Mm.
I think Daboia mauritanica
Yeah.
is very very hard to come by midsummer. I think it's
Okay.
October or May. There's quite a few periods which allow for higher diversity, but then you
Okay.
can target some specifics and also bad conditions, I would say.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, makes
For
sense.
example, there's someone actually in Morocco at the moment that I follow on the social media. He found three ekis yesterday,
Oh, nice.
and it's
Really
like 10 degrees at night. And we
crazy.
were there in April. It was 13 degrees at night, and we didn't find anything. So apparently, we
Hmm.
just didn't have much luck, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, you
So,
never know. I think there's a bunch of luck involved, and the animals, I don't know, they have their own schedules, I would say.
Yeah, they
yeah,
don't wait for you to come by and take a picture.
yeah,
Exactly.
man. But maybe for listeners and also for me, I don't even know. When you visit Morocco, let's say for one week, is it possible to see like a big amount of the country, or is it like that big that it's not that easy to go from the mountains to the coast, or is it like a lot of habitats in a small area, or is it like very distributed?
I would say some areas will offer a high diversity in low driving is not correct because you will have to drive a lot anyways.
Mm,
But some areas are better for this. Some areas you can just drive endlessly in the same habitat for maybe a couple of days.
okay, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep going south, now maybe actually you're going to enter more sandier areas, so it's going to
Mm,
change anyways, but it's still very arid. Rocks or sand at the end of the day.
yeah.
For the eyes, it's pretty much the same at some point. But some areas, in the best example, I think that's the trip people do. They all do the same trip. They land in Marrakesh or in Agadir. They find a way to go to the Atlas Mountains, so you can
Mm,
find some high altitude endemics. Then you go down the Sus Valley, and there you have some other species. Then you go by the coast near Agadir, Sidi Ifni, and then you have species such as Bitis aretans and maybe, if you're lucky, some cobra.
mm,
But then you can also go back up to Tafraout, where you can find an endemic lizard species. It's also the best place in Morocco for gazelles, for instance. If you go more east, you can find Ekis. You can find some other nice lizard species, some oromastics also. But it's a bunch of rocks. I would say Morocco is a rock country. It's a
okay.
Morocco
bunch of
rocks.
rocks, different species. But man, it's like rocks everywhere.
But man, a lot of rocks to flip as well, right? To find stuff.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But man, how many rocks can you flip a day without
That's
finding anything and then
yeah.
having to keep
Yeah,
going?
the disappointment is
Yeah,
so
true.
big.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I would say you can see a lot, but there is always much more to see.
Mm,
I've spent 12 years of my life in the country. We
okay.
traveled quite a bit, but not
Mm,
like now, not with the same targets in mind. This past year, we spent, I don't know, like a couple months on the field, and we still have much to see. Not only species wise, there's also quite a bunch of areas we didn't explore or didn't explore properly, I would say.
okay. Do you have like a favorite area? Maybe you don't need to tell us where it's located, but uh to herp.
Mm. Well, I
Or was
think
there like a great
maybe
experience in one area or something like that?
maybe it's good advice for everyone, but maybe do not go looking after them, just leave them alone also.
Mm,
But the salamander trip was quite an experience.
mm,
First of all, because we were fucking lucky every single night, but also because the whole Mediterranean area is
mm.
very, very diverse in habitats. And maybe that answers the previous question as well. Every half an hour, you find a new piece of habitat that seems unreal. It was
Cool.
crazy. It's very limited species wise. It's not like in the
Yeah.
south where you can find cobras and bitis and uromastics, but the habitats are insane. So I would say northern Morocco is very, very underrated. And if you take your time, there's also quite a bunch of monkeys to be found throughout the trip. Maybe you can target some other species like the porcupine I mentioned earlier. If you want to try your luck, you can go look for striped hyenas in one of the national park. But I think the density is too low to find one. I would say, yeah, northern Morocco, smaller distance, more habitat diversity, uh, and very underrated. No one goes herping there. Oh, and also it's the best place in the world for calcidas skinks. The highest
Oh,
diversity
really?
point is this area. Yeah. Not
Yeah,
sure if it's
Nice.
like 6, 8, or 10 species, but it's a bunch.
well,
Easy. Maybe you
that's
should do
really,
some vlogs the next time you go there
yeah.
because I'm literally picturing how you go through the desert, film the different habitats. Because with herping, it's also uh, not always the right to show your spots, but you could also
Mm,
do some behind the scenes or like vlogging through your trip without showing the
Mhm.
sites where you find the animals would be also a cool form of content creation. I think that would at least be some content that I would like to watch.
yeah, for sure. Wait a second.
I would like to do it too.
I need to feed the cats. It's so fucking annoying. Okay, sorry.
All right.
Do we
Sorry.
take a break or do we keep talking with Till?
You can also keep talking.
Yeah. floor it
Okay.
also. Yeah.
Okay,
So
but yeah, man, I wanted to do these videos so bad, but every time I was in the field and finding some stuff, I just forgot about filming because I
yeah,
brought back quite a few videos of the salamanders of the habitats, but it's no way near enough to make even like nice reels about it, I think.
yeah.
So it's a whole effort. It's a whole different effort, and that's why we are three members in the team because I think I will do the photography.
Mm.
And I think one of the two other guys will have to spend time filming
Yeah, that would
because
be
it doesn't
cool.
matter who films. We just
Yeah.
need the things when we get back home to work with.
So you can still focus on photographing, but also have this,
Hmm.
let's call it B-roll, where you also, yeah, give some insights on the landscape and the places you visit. It would be
Yeah.
very cool, but
Yeah.
I also get that it's a lot of hassle. Sometimes I also think I would be cool to film more stuff, but either way I forget or I don't want to.
Well, if I
Yeah.
if I wasn't taking the pictures, it would be quite an easy deal to do because it would be the only thing I'd have to do. But
Yeah.
with the pictures, it's already a lot of work, a lot of things to have in mind. Especially now we do white background pictures, but we try to also make the in situ pictures
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I realized it didn't make sense to find these animals in such great landscapes and not pay respect to the sceneries they can be found
Mm.
in.
True.
Yeah, it's always so that's why I like also it depends. Some in situ shots are like very nicely done where you can see a lot of the habitat in the background. What I really like as a keeper, because then I can get like inspired. Uh but yeah, it's always so nice to see them. And also with the coming back real quick to the whole filming stuff, I really love like watching people like go herping, even though it's not the sometimes not the best quality videos, but it's just amazing. There's this guy, Reptilian Diaries. He also does amazing photography and he films all his stuff and it's always so cool. It's like 10-minute videos, also hanging out with his friends, filming himself herping. It's man, it's amazing. Maybe it's also a way to get like more views on your website and on this project in general, or maybe even get like a
Mhm.
little income or something like that.
True,
Because
true, definitely.
I mean, somehow you need
Yes,
to
I
get
mentioned this was maybe a way for me to
um,
get this
mm,
professionalized, and
Yeah.
maybe
yeah,
making the videos is going to be
yeah,
the deal. I mean the way to find money in this hustle.
yeah. Because I think with YouTube, it's maybe the easiest way to get like money out of
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there are
Yeah.
some help channels out there that are like okay big. I mean, if you also do like maybe showing how to photograph something, other people will also be interested because photography scene is probably also pretty big and looking for stuff, how to
Mhm.
take pictures of mm, snakes or stuff like that, and you pop up. I think it would be pretty cool.
True. Yeah. Definitely something more also for IG and TikTok, I would say.
Mm,
True.
I think
yeah,
that's where
but
you can get the most views and maybe even the more money. I think TikTok's paying pretty well these days.
yeah, that's true. But then also you have to keep the hustle going, right? It's so hard
True.
to. Man, I tried it with this project to post like every week or something. Even like every week is for me hard to cut and edit, and then everything takes like triple the amount of time because you need to have different angles and everything needs to be right. And sometimes it's difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the
Yeah,
other
man, I
hand,
need
I
to make
mean,
a
no,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I just want to say, but if you want to make a living out of it, maybe then you can grind in with that.
A different form of
True.
motivation.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, definitely that's something I want to do when we go back to the field. Uh, because I don't there is so much potential, I think.
Mm.
And
Yep.
many, many times you find those reels, it's always the same species that are treated, besides a few specialists like the guy in California who does all the
Yeah.
species of the state.
Yeah,
And
it's
some
so
species
cool.
would be nice to show. They deserve more hotspots. Not only like I don't know, the species that can be saved from the wild, also the one that you have to go look for, the high altitude endemics, niche
Mm.
species, but they need the spotlight too, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Have you thought about like making like a slideshow where you can show an institute habitat, the picture of the animal, and then also show the habitat? Because I feel like that's what's missing oftentimes to really see or make people aware where this species is coming from and what maybe needs
Mhm.
to be protected or taken care of. I think
True, but
that's
then
then
this
you will
raises
also,
another question.
yeah,
How much information do you want to give to people?
yeah, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the issue. But maybe that's a good way to maybe dive into the website, and I
Yeah,
can show
Yeah.
you,
for
and you
sure.
can give me your opinion. So again, this is not a website to overpower the existing platforms. Our idea is different. We want to make it more accessible because some very great websites exist. I should mention Morocco Herbs, which is, I think,
Mm.
a Spanish-led initiative that I think has been up for like 15 years or something. And then there is also the work of Abdullah Bouazza, who is a herpetologist from Morocco, and he has a website called Morocco Herpetology, but which is also maybe for more educated people, I would say.
Mm.
So our idea is to position ourselves differently, and the true idea is to try and get people to dive into the diversity. And inspired by the work of Reptiles of Ecuador, I wouldn't say I designed, but I did something very similar, which is this index
Mm.
that, in my opinion, gets one to want to click on the images to dive
Yeah.
a step
Yeah,
deeper.
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's if that's how people will feel about it, but in my opinion, you see many pictures, you click on the picture, oh, okay, Kodata, what the fuck is this? And then you have the two species of salamanders newts that can be found in Morocco, and you're like, oh, okay, let's see. Oh, this one looks better. It's black and yellow. Okay,
Mm.
you click on Salamandra algira, and now you land on species account. And the idea that we had was to make a 3-level species account where you land on the level 1. So if you do not know anything, we will explain to you that a salamander is not a lizard, that it's an amphibian. Take it very, very, very low. And maybe if you're done with this, you can go up to level 3, or level 2, and then level 3. And you can, a step at a time, learn more
Mm.
about the species and also understand the basics. Because if someone doesn't know anything about salamandra, maybe this is a bit rough, like a lot of
Mm.
text. However, I would like to think the pictures make up for the difficulty of the text, although we try to make it very simple. But
Yeah.
see, you dive, you have description, you have pictures for every subspecies. I'm still debating whether I like this more. This is the Salamandra algira atlantica,
Mm.
for which we have many, many phenotypes photographed. So I have enough to make a row of two. But maybe I like it better for Spele. We have only one individual,
Mm.
and it's nice also putting a headshot
Yeah.
side by side.
I
Yeah.
like that.
So I tried the same with the Splendens, which is a another subspecies, and I think it looks pretty cool also with the headshots.
It looks really cool
What do you guys
because
think?
I
Yeah.
like it.
yeah, with the hedge, I think it's almost better with the hedgehog because also people, I think, feel more connected with seeing a face of an animal
Yeah,
because
like a
it's also like
portrait.
yeah, it's also cute looking and they
Mhm.
can identify with it more when you are not interested like as much as we are in herbs. I think people can connect better with the face and then with the body as well.
Mhm. That's, I think, what we will go for in the end, because this is also nice. Is Tingitana, so the ones from near Tangier,
Mm.
and this is cool also to be able to compare every phenotypes and every clade. But it's true that I think the eye contact you get with the big headshots maybe
Mm.
will get the less interested people
Yeah,
to connect a bit more.
for sure.
But so the idea is to provide full-on scientifically referenced articles. I told you about the level thing. This is something we plan on adding a little further on to the project. For now, let's keep it simple and just keep going.
Mm.
And as you can see, we want to describe the animals. We want to tell about their natural history, about their distribution with pretty easy to understand maps.
Mm.
Uh, and then, of course, you want to talk about the habitats. So one of the questions that I was debating the other day with Colin Do we put habitat pictures? Do we put in situ pictures in the habitat section to show the habitat, but maybe not too much, as the in situ pictures sometimes only show very tiny portions of the habitats? Then there's also like a conservation part where you want to give the threats, but for instance, one of the threats they face is overcollection for the pet trade. Okay, that's true, but do you want to tell people? Do you want to give them the idea that maybe you can collect them? Or maybe it's good to tell them not to collect them. What's the decision to take? It's pretty difficult to choose. And for instance, on Reptiles of Ecuador, they have a small section that's seeds in the wild. Okay, that's a cool section to add. But maybe in Morocco, given how accessible some habitats are, it would be very tricky not to make it a dangerous section. So that's also something we're debating at the moment. What to do with because we want to educate people about them. I would like people to enjoy them and to go and see them and to get a connection for the species. But how can you filter out the nasty people out there, of the ones who are just going to take advantage of the information you give them? Because to find all these salamanders, I had to read so much scientific articles and I had to reach out to people. So maybe it's a good thing if it stays a bit difficult to find them. So the purpose maybe is to get people to connect to them and dive deeper themselves, or to get to them and to reach out to us, or maybe just get interested, know a lot about them, but don't mind finding them, or maybe they find them in the wild and they're like, oh, okay, what is it? And then they can come in onto the website. And it's many questions that we were debating, and I think there is no secret solution. I think you just gotta be, I don't know, maybe optimistic. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think if like first with the habitat pictures, I think adding pictures to this text is definitely like valuable, because I'm also very attracted to like pictures and text, because it doesn't feel like you read so much, then you can also see a picture. Even though if it's only shows like maybe a rock with a tree in the background or something like that, not like exposing the whole habitat or something like that. But I would do that personally. And I think if people want to collect them, they would do it either way. If it's written in a text that it's like they are threatened with over collection, I think if people have it in their mind, they're gonna do it, regardless what's in the text.
Yeah, I wouldn't drop the GPS data or
Yeah.
like
Of course.
direction on exactly where to find them, but if you show some basic or general pictures of the habitat so the people can imagine how it looks there, I think that should be fine, but I'm no biologist or anything that is qualified to speak about
I,
that.
I don't think people that are like, let's just say there's a family, they're going to Morocco looking in the internet and stumbling across your website, and then they see like, oh, okay, there's this salamander. I don't think if they read like, oh, it's threatened because of collecting, oh, let's collect it. I don't think that's how people are, you know?
That's true. Yes. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. The collectors, they know better than this website
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, 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 of course. So I
That's
think, yeah,
why.
that boils it down to the true purpose of this website, which is to interest people, give them the opportunity to educate themselves.
Mm.
And if not, just enjoy nice pictures, because at the end of the day, that's what I do. I take pictures. If through my pictures they can understand the taxonomy, it's great. If through my pictures they can get appreciation for the country, for said
Yeah.
species, it's great too. And even if it doesn't work, at least they will have seen the animals once, and that's already a win for me, I would say.
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
But so yeah, that's the whole idea behind the website. And thing is, we spent so much time making this. We invested from our money, and I don't know how much we did so far. If we go onto this page, we tell people what we've achieved so far. 50 out of 130 reptile and amphibian species photographed. The website is pretty much done. all we need to do is to keep adding the species account, like the salamandra I just showed you, but
Hmm.
this will take time. But how much work did we do in percentage? It's very hard to say because some species we have no idea how long it will take us to find. However, we think that if we're committed enough, it's only 80 species left in a way. We can make it happen pretty quickly,
Mm.
even though maybe we're going to miss, I don't know, 10 species at the end. That's not the end of the world. You can always commission I don't know, a naturalist illustrator and make some nice drawings to fill
Mm.
the gaps. Meanwhile, we keep looking for the species. But what I'm trying to bring is we invested much effort, much money, and the whole idea and the whole purpose of this website, besides the one that I tell since the beginning of the podcast, is for us to have a platform to show people what we did and to also find help and
Mm.
sponsors. Because to keep this project going, we need a little, what's the word in English? In French, we say coup de pouce, a little help, a little,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Push.
they push you just for the
Yeah.
beginning, and then
Mm.
you're autonomous. And so our idea is to raise the money so that we can focus fully on finishing or at least advancing the project at the highest speed we can. We would like to start again traveling and finding species by this summer.
Mm.
So we made a whole budget. We need to buy a car because for now we've been renting every time in Morocco, but that's pretty expensive. It doesn't make sense if we
Mm.
want to keep doing this. So that's a car, that's financing the expeditions. So that's accommodation, that's food, that's all the basic things human need to survive on a daily basis. And there's also some gear that we need to take this a bit further because we would like to start doing mammals and birds. This will be done with captive animals, I would say. So this needs different setups. If you want to take pictures of a lion if in captivity,
Mm.
you better have a very big, well, lighting equipment material, of course, but also very big white backdrop. Maybe, I don't know, think a whole new enclosure to take the
Mm.
pictures. That's things you need money for at the end of the day. So that's also the purpose of this website is to show the world what we did and maybe get the world to help us keep going
Mm.
and this way make this project a combined effort. That's how I would phrase it. And so the first step was photographing the species for now,
Mhm.
which, as I said, we only did 50 out of 130, which is plenty. Then we had to create this whole website to try and make it accessible, visible to the world, because taking pictures is one thing, showing them to the people is another thing, and making people enjoy them and want to see more is an even different thing. And then there is this whole writing the account section, which takes even more time, and that's the work of Colin, who is the biologist.
Yeah.
Mm.
I do the paging, I put them on the website. So it's interesting. It's a whole combined efforts of not only taking pictures, but also thinking about how to get them out there in a nice way. Posting on Instagram is nice, but sometimes it lacks a purpose.
Mm.
And this is very, it drives me, I think. I've been working crazy on this, only on the website for the past couple of weeks. And really, I mean, it's tiring, but I'm happy to do it because it's all what you've worked for that happens to create something nice that goes
Mm.
far deeper than the pictures.
Yeah,
I don't
for
know.
sure.
For me,
Yeah.
it gives so much value to the salamander pictures because out of a sudden they're part of something bigger. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah,
this
Yes.
for
Sclerophrys
sure.
mauritanica, which is maybe the most common species in Morocco. I don't know. Now it's on the website, and
Yeah,
maybe this guy will help me bring, I don't know, $200 tomorrow. Man, that's the
yeah.
luckiest frog I've ever found. Like,
That's, I mean, it elevates it on a different level because you also can show more of your creative output because on Instagram everybody has the same layout, right? I mean, a lot of people can post cool pictures, but to also make a cool and impressive website is also a different thing. How to do it artistically, how to do it like in a way that people like to look at it and understand what you're doing. So also to see your pictures not only in this Instagram frame is also something very cool and refreshing. because I'm just used to it, seeing it like on a small screen, but seeing it like in full screen is like much more impressive and
Yeah.
really shows the quality. And I think that's what's also really cool about it, that your work is also really show in his full like how do you say it? Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
know what you
think
mean.
all this scientific background, the comparative photography, that's what really adds the value here. So, like Flo said, it's not just a collection of cool animals or cool pictures on Instagram. For those who only listened to this episode and didn't see the screen recording, in the like the species account of the salamanders, there are also all these links to the how do I say it in English? In German, it's Quellen. Um, the
Mm.
all the to the scientific
Yeah,
papers,
the references.
the references. Yeah, right. So it's really written like a scientific paper and not just there's this random guy from Switzerland posting on Instagram and copy pasting Wikipedia under his post, but it's really more. And I also like the easy accessible look because when I travel to a different country and I want to know what animals can I find there, what is there, it's super easy. I go to the website, I see, okay, this seems to be a salamander, click there, then I have all the salamanders, and then I can read through it, have these different pictures, and also have some information that makes it very easy to dive into that, without searching here and there. Are there snakes in Morocco? Which toads are here? So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think iNaturalist does a good job, but also it's only the species that have been found.
Yeah,
Mm,
So that's only so much. And then you have for mammals and birds. For birds, you have Avibase, which provides full lists. For
mm,
mammals, Wikipedia is pretty good. Every country has a mammals of said country page.
yeah,
But for reptile and amphibians, it's a nightmare.
yeah.
Like if you type, I don't know, reptiles of a random country, there is very, very little chance you will have a full up-to-date list.
yeah,
Yeah.
And that's the idea behind the website. Also, we named it Fauna Morocco because I think that's the two easiest word to, if you're looking for animals, at some point you're
Yeah.
going to Google this, and then we hope you end on our website. And maybe we do not have all the species yet, but it's still better than nothing. It's one step at a time. And also, maybe we can provide lists before having the pictures, just so people can get into the flow of knowing and getting interested, maybe come back a few years later, finding, oh man, they finally have found, I don't know, there is this uromastic species that hasn't been found for like 100 years, I think, in deep South
Okay.
Morocco.
well,
Really.
So maybe someone comes back in 2 years and is like, oh fuck, they found the
they
guy.
found it. Yeah.
The
Do
last
you
one
think
of
it's
them.
still out there?
I have no idea. I didn't. I'm interested in going there because the area looks nuts.
Mm,
I'm not sure how relevant of a species description it is
mm,
because sometimes some disappeared animals were just like badly described
mm.
species.
Yeah.
Uh, but I would hope so. There is I mean, it looks valid. There is a holotype.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to come or interested in the species, just reach out. Maybe we can make a special expedition happen.
Yeah, what is it like? Have you thought about like bringing also people to do like herping trips or photographing trips or something like that? I mean, it's kind of lays on the hand if you do a project like this to also maybe get in this niche.
Well, that's a good way of financing expeditions
Mm,
also. It will depend, I would say. And it's always cool to have people with you because the more eyes, the more hands, the more chances of success.
mm,
But also, if the people are not in the same mindset, it can be pretty tiring to drag
yeah.
people who are not as motivated, to drag people who are maybe scared of some things they cannot handle. And then there's also the other option. If people take pictures, then you have to this very weird way of saying it. You share the animals basically,
Yeah.
and then how do you balance it out? How do you decide who has the priority, who can take said amount of time? For instance, deep down, I like to think that my pictures are for this project, so I should have the priority, but also doesn't make sense. That's a pretty egotistical way of seeing things, because at the end of the day, it's only a picture, and everyone who looked for the animal should have the same opportunity to just enjoy it. So that's a tricky question. I think maybe it will be something to do for just to give it a try, maybe. But I just enjoy too much bringing friends over and doing this with friends. I don't see
Yeah.
how I could make money through this. And also, it's weird. I don't like the fact of showing precious locations to people you do not know very well.
Yeah.
Some microendemics, they could suffer highly from someone knowing a bit too much and you not knowing enough about the person.
Yeah. That's true. But then also on the other hand, like you can always have like something against doing stuff like that, right? You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
There's always a reason not to do something like that because in the end of the day, you you will never know what people are up to,
Mhm.
right? So
It's true, but I know if I'm going with you to Morocco, with you, Till, Ben, whatever, we're gonna have a good time.
yeah.
We're gonna find some stuff, and I know you're not going to. Maybe you're gonna ask me if someone asks you about the precise locality. Maybe you're not going to give it anyways. I'm mostly scared. I mean, if you bring people to the country, you want to show them the cool stuff.
Yeah.
So that's of course the big species like cobras and bitis, which do not have precise localities, I would say,
Mm.
and are rather difficult to find. Anyway, I mean, I don't know, but I would like to take people and show, for example, you guys. I would like to show you all the salamanders
Mm.
because it was so cool finding them. But it's so specific that if I were to give this to badly intentioned people, it could
Mm.
wipe out the population, not only because of I don't know over collecting, but also because of chytrid,
Yeah,
the
fungi.
fungi.
Yeah.
That's yeah, people need to be very careful. And how can you ensure that people are going to be very careful? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think maybe it
That's
also
the thing.
depends on the price point or something like this. If your price is like very high, probably people think really about it, and only maybe people that are really dedicated do it. I don't know. It's difficult. Yeah, totally get it.
And also, there's many trips every year of people going to Morocco, paying already to find the animals. Does it really make sense to? I think maybe the only thing so far that we could provide that other teams do not provide is the. I think the salamanders were pretty good at finding now.
Mm.
But as I told you, maybe it's the worst thing to show random people.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
maybe just, yeah, people do it already. Maybe it's not our niche. Maybe it will become our niche. Maybe not. We will see, but that's definitely not a priority. The
Yeah.
priority is to just keep the project going and finish all the species as soon as possible to provide a complete database for people to enjoy. And also for us to have the pleasure of sitting on the chair and be like, fuck, we did it.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
So if people
That's
want
how
to,
I would phrase it.
yeah, if people want to support it and they want to donate money, how is it possible? Can I type in my credit card? Can I pay via PayPal or what's the idea?
So, for people listening, you guys should know this is recorded a week, 10 days before the official release of both the website and the podcast. So, the answer might not be definitive, but the idea is yes, to provide many payment options for anyone interested in creating such projects someday. You should know it's pretty tricky. First, you need a bunch of papers. You need to create, we create an association for this. you need to, not sure how it's called in other countries. We call it the business register. You need to be a member of this. You get a number to be accredited on Stripe, on PayPal, to be able to bring in the money. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. The idea is to, as soon as possible, provide as many payment options, because if people want to help us, we have to make it easy for them to help us.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So the idea was to make it a simple donation for now, and maybe in the future months to expand to maybe a Patreon system to offer different levels. But we're looking for 60K. Our first level will be 30K. Once we have 30K, we can keep going the project. We can go on the first part of the expedition, and we, while doing this, can keep looking for the money. And I think when we'll be back in the field, we will now have our mind fully dedicated to this. No studies, no work. We'll have more time to also provide more content. And that's when maybe a Patreon, maybe a YouTube channel, other stuff to share our experience and what we're doing might come into play, and maybe change the whole donation support system. Maybe creating memberships, offering maybe bringing people to Morocco, creating exhibitions, not only to donate, but maybe just if you buy a poster and half of the price you're paying is going to the project, maybe it's a nicer way of sponsoring than just giving the money, you know? So for now, we'll keep it simple because we need to start somewhere. But this is definitely questions we ask ourselves. How to make it even cooler for people to sponsor us. Not just like send a couple of bucks away and cool, you helped us, but we want to give you as much as we can in exchange for your money. And I think we can do it we're doing the work anyways. So we might as well send you emails, call you, I don't know, get you a poster home. Definitely cool questions to work on.
I need a poster.
Yeah.
Same, man.
So cool.
Working on the salamander poster at the moment. So stay tuned, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And is it also going to be on your personal website? Like that people can buy like posters? Not this
That's
Fauna Morocco.
That's something I would like to implement indeed. Because for people who do not know, Morocco is actually a very small section of what I photographed so far. And I'd like to think I have cool pictures of cool animals, and there is potential to make posters, even just regular prints. And I need to get onto this and to start providing an option for people to buy them, because I think there is potential. So definitely, Flo. But maybe Morocco is the priority for now.
Yeah.
Since we need the money to keep going. Whereas I can still eat food on a daily basis without selling pictures. So
yeah. But I think a lot of people would be interested because like these pictures are very clean, and it would be awesome to hang it into a reptile room or even like in your living room or something like that because it's such high quality.
How much would you be ready to pay for a, I don't know, 60 by 90 picture?
That's hard. 60 by 90.
I don't know, like 60, whatever. What's the size of the poster?
Yeah, I don't know what's a good size poster, but I would say
I'm Googling.
30 euros.
Say it again, Flo?
30 euros.
30 euros? Okay. For 30 euros, I think it's only, that's poster quality. If you want prints, like on a hard material or on canvas, for instance.
More.
Okay.
Then I would pay like
interesting.
double, at least. When it's like a really
because that's also one of my my questioning is how much do you want to sell them? Because you have manufacturing costs, and then you have to set up a margin. And it's very abstract margin, you know what I mean? Because it's not like other things where you say, okay, we need 20% margin to keep the company going. It's hard to track all the time I've spent into this, all the expenses. So it's a pretty set thing you have to put, you know? And it's hard to work your mind about I don't know, like adding $75 to the manufacturing or 100, 150. Difficult to decide.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. But I think people are more willing to pay for that because when I see what people are selling on Etsy, for example, I mean,
Hmm.
then you should do it immediately. You know what I mean? Because
True.
that's a whole nother level. And I don't know. I don't think there's a bunch of people out there that sell like high level prints of like clean animals.
I
You
also
know?
searched for this a lot, like cool scientific posters with
Mm,
nice shots and not too much distracting shit, let's call it like this. And it's
Hmm.
pretty hard to find cool ones. I saw some with tarantulas, I think in the past, but with reptiles, I didn't
yeah,
find like cool. It's more like a collage of random animal pictures, just not
yeah.
something good looking design
I
type.
mean, when you think
And I
about it, you
think
could even
it's
do like an art exhibition out of it to showcase like patterns, colors, structures of an animal, not like the animal itself, but sometimes you have like the shots of like the back of a chameleon or something like that. And I think that's something that also people outside of this hobby are interested in when there's like a crazy color, like the just a piece of skin of a chameleon, like a big print of it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think that's what
Yes, you need
also,
to give people what I don't know what shocks them the most. For instance,
yeah.
very often I think it's the eyes of geckos which
Hmm.
do the
Mhm.
most in pictures because
True.
they're I don't know they're like mind blowing,
Yeah.
and that's true. You need to fascinate the people because unlike you and me, I think for me, let's go back maybe to the homepage. This one, this Hemidactylus turcicus,
Mm.
Mm.
I fucking love the picture because the
Yeah.
position is nice, the color is nice, the species is nice. But for a random person, this is a fucking wall gecko.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a headshot of the maybe very close headshot with the eyes, with all the prominent scales from the head, that's better for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's the things you
So you
don't
have to
see
that.
when you just see them running by.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's difficult. That's something we need. I need to force myself to do because sometimes I enjoy like the some very basic things. But if the position is perfect, I'm very happy, and
Mm.
that's enough for me. But for people, that's not enough. For the salamanders we're talking about, I mean, I enjoy this picture, the full body, way more than the headshot. But I think
Yeah,
people get connected to the headshot way more, you know?
of course.
Yeah. Because you never see
So
animals like this very close up. I think that's the big difference.
true. Yes. Yes. Maybe I also forget that I'm very privileged to have them, I don't know, 5 centimeters and
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have the option to play with them.
Yeah, for
True.
sure. I mean, even like if you keep reptiles at home, when do you take like time and really look at it, right? Especially
Hmm.
when you have like bigger collection to really appreciate what you
Yep.
have is like insane, right? Because there's
That's
so
something
much.
breeders tell me usually. Like
Mm.
they're when they bring out the animal for the white background pictures, they put it on the backdrop, and they're like, "Wow,
Yeah.
this is a
Mm.
nice animal.
It's
Man, you
something I
never
have
see
at
them like
home.
this."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's always shocking. But for instance, the Lepidophyma Flo gave me, I didn't take pictures of it yet, for instance,
Yeah.
and it's at home. But it's not the same thrill,
Yeah,
of
it's
going to
something
a
different.
place.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it's true. It's true. I don't know how much time do you spend. I mean, you don't have animals anymore, Flo, but still, how much time do you spend watching your animals on a weekly basis?
Not enough. Most interaction is when taking care of them or getting shit done. But
Hmm.
I feel like with all the other stuff you have going around in your life, it's you don't, or I personally don't take enough time just sitting, observing, watching,
Hmm.
having a close look. It's more like doing what's need to be done. But like this, enjoying and just watching, it's not that much. I have it like in the background picture. You see it with the setup for my Unknown. That's in my living room.
Hmm.
So when I'm sitting on the couch relaxing, I see more of him. But all the animals in the reptile room, it's more like you see them when you walk into that room. Yeah. And I think with most people that have a bigger collection, I don't even have a lot of animals. It's even more that way
Hmm.
because you have
Yeah,
so
definitely.
much work to do. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's always nice when some visiting some nicer collections. Some people have usually a chair or something in the room,
Mm.
and I find it nice. And sometimes they say, yeah, just come here and watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, I never do it. Like if I were to find the lizard I have in my room in the wild, I would go nuts.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And man, here sometimes I'm like trying to feed him. He doesn't pick up the roach quick enough, and I'm like, fuck you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Little guy,
So,
what's going on here?
Guess no
so the
food for you
perception is very
today.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know that
yeah.
I
So
have the...
maybe
Oh, sorry.
Mhm. Go ahead, go ahead.
And I just wanted to say, ask you if you know that I have the mother of your animal at home, the OG Lepidophyma smithy girl, is now here.
Yeah, well, Smithy, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
uh, I was at the symposium in Zopes in 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago, and there's this teacher of which I forgot the name. And even now, I know the name, but I wouldn't know how to pronounce it, so I'll keep it. But he studies sexual reproduction in
mhm,
lizards. So
nice.
Lepidophyma is a perfect example. And they have three species at the university in Prague.
Mhm.
And I asked them, okay, what's the difference between Flavimaculata and Smithy? Because I cannot see it with my own eyes, even though I've seen pictures of true Smithy, which are lighter.
Yeah,
Flo showed me his Smithy, and they look like Flavimaculata, so it basically brain fucked me. And man, I've never seen someone look at my picture with so much interest
yeah.
because he really took the time to analyze
Mm.
the animal, and it's not Smithy. I'm sorry to
Ah,
say.
shit.
This
Really?
take it
But
back,
then
So
Fluffy.
now I have two Flavimaculatum at home.
but then maybe Flo mentioned the size of the mother,
Yeah,
which is maybe too big for Smithy. So I think the real option is next time I go to Prague, let's drive together. We bring them the animal,
yeah,
and they do whatever they have to do to find what's
Yeah,
up.
would
Because
be
they
interesting.
also brought back from a trip the exact same copy of Lepidophyma flavomaculatum,
mhm,
but that lives a bit higher, and
Mm.
genetically it's a totally different species.
Oh,
But
really? Interesting.
from the logs, it's the exact same.
yeah.
Okay. Damn.
I've read a little bit of a publication about their sexual and non-sexual reproduction. And
Mhm.
even within Flavimaculatum and Smithy, there seem to be different localities or different populations, and some
Mhm.
live and reproduce due to sexual reproduction. So there are areas where they live or where you have males and females, and then you have areas within the same species with just females that just reproduce via pathogenesis. So that's also pretty crazy. Maybe there are even more like subspecies than we think right now.
But then subspecies, if you talk to most scientists, doesn't mean shit for them.
Mm.
If you do not know anything, I mean, if you don't know enough to put it as a species, just put as subspecies and it becomes garbage,
Yeah,
Yeah.
from what I've heard. But talking about the sexual reproduction, the guy you mentioned an example which will blow your minds, I think. You know what Leolepis is? Those Southeast Asian agamids,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think
butterf
so.
butterfly
Butterfly
gammas,
Yeah,
I think they're
agapids.
yeah,
called.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he brought them up into discussion, and he was like, okay, so X million years ago, a couple species that are still extant today reproduced. They created a hybrid that was fertile and that reproduced through only through parthenogenesis.
yeah. Okay.
And from what I understood, you have this species that is now today's species that comes from maybe not a single individual, because many times the two species have hybridized, I would say, but you have species that are just clones of themselves with very few individuals that make up the whole diversity of the species, and that have just cloned themselves for ages, and that are the results of the hybridation of two, maybe the word is not good, but true species.
Yeah,
And I find it mind blowing.
that's
Man,
For like
interesting.
millions of years, maybe one species is just like one lady cloning herself
crazy.
over and over again. This is, of course, very a dumb way to say it, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the process if you boil it down.
Yeah,
And I find
that's
it insane.
yeah. I also ask
that's cool.
myself this with these population of the Lepidophyma that only reproduce with the parthenogenesis. How long are they already doing that? So how old is this one, let's call it like this, female that's cloning herself? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Super,
It's
super crazy to imagine that.
it's like a sourdough. That
Yeah.
Oh man, the fucking baker.
Yeah. There he is.
No,
For anyone who
but
doesn't know, Flo is a baker in his day job.
guess what job? Yes. No, but it is so impressive. It's crazy to think about it. But with the
Mhm.
Smithy, it's just so weird because don't you think she's like huge? Not the unknown lady. I think she's so big. Maybe it's just like an extra exception
Giant.
big. Yeah, because
Maybe I
she
don't know.
is.
I've never seen other individuals as big of either species anyway, so like
Hmm.
it's impossible to compare. Have you?
No, I just seen herping videos and they were like
Okay.
small, and the guys always
Okay.
say it's full grown. So yeah,
Yeah, all the ones that I see are the size that my other Lepidophyma is now. That seems to be
Mhm.
Flavimaculatum. Um, but I honestly don't know. I haven't seen them a lot in private hands so far.
That's
yeah.
definitely an interesting question. Maybe we could,
We need to
I don't
bring
know if
her.
there would
Yeah, that would be
be,
interesting to bring
yeah.
her.
What?
Also, maybe
And
interesting
also,
to Prague in Prague. Is it right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, it's in Prague at the Charles Albert University.
Mm. Because
Yeah,
maybe.
definitely. Let's give it a try. But man, she would
Yeah.
have to travel so much.
Yeah. Okay, but for science, bro.
Yeah. Could be interesting. Man, maybe it's another species. Maybe not. Maybe it's
Imagine.
just like an overfed bastard.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, maybe.
But have you told them
Could be
that
too.
she's like very big? Or
Yes, but I didn't have numbers
yeah,
to
okay.
tell them. So I
I think
kept just saying,
she's
no, it's very big.
I think she's 30 or 35 centimeters,
I have
Okay.
pictures that I took
which
when
is
Ben
pretty
took her
big.
out of the enclosure. Wait, I send it to you.
That's definitely fucking monster, especially compared to the tiny shrimp I have at home.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
But
this
then
guy
I'm
is
not
not
talking
grown,
about the
man.
lizard. Just kidding.
Classic. No, but it is crazy because she also gave birth to like 10 or 11 young.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, man, I mean, she has the potential to do so.
yeah, definitely.
And she's pretty big right now, so I'm wondering when she will reproduce again.
Yeah, soon.
Okay, I sent you some pictures in the group. Yeah, but
Let's
that's
What is the
see.
machine? Yeah.
Did you? Oh, yeah, you did.
Oh, but
That's
this
the
picture is,
adult?
that's the female that I got from Ben.
Okay.
So the mother of yours doesn't
Okay,
look.
it's way smaller than I
Yeah,
yeah,
remembered it, to be
yeah.
honest.
I also thought she would be bigger
Tell you have to measure her.
Because
I mean, she's in
right now.
your
oh
hands
man,
now.
it's man, because on the picture I have of yours, it looks so fucking big. It looks like a boat.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
in the hands, it's not so big actually.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe Ben
Man,
Yeah,
scammed
I'm
me and
glad I
gave
didn't
me
give
the
them
wrong one.
numbers.
yeah. Tell your no, it's your thing to measure her and
Oh,
then
I'm
give us
totally gonna
numbers.
get bit.
Yeah. But back to the
Yeah.
website. Yeah. Before like what is for now the closest goal to reach, like money-wise? What do you need for summer, for example?
I mean, maybe not for the beginning of summer, but
Mm.
honestly, 30K, we can do a great deal, like a great
Hmm.
bunch.
Mhm.
Because maybe I should talk about the time frame. The idea is to go
Yeah.
back this summer,
Yeah.
maybe end of summer, spend as much time as we can there, then we come back here. I will go through Europe to take pictures of mammals and birds which are relevant to the project. So maybe the extinct ones, such as cheetahs, caracals, some bigger carnivores, maybe some threatened birds that would need more attention. Like for the bird people out there, bustards. There's quite a bunch of, there's still 3 bustard species in Morocco, which are all highly threatened. So would be an opportunity to shine some light on them, for instance. So
Mm.
that would be autumn. Then we will go back in December probably to keep working on the salamanders, because although we found everything, it could be nice to have more individuals for some clades. And the idea is after that to go back, well, for maybe 2 months straight in 2026. And this will be the fulfillment mission, as we'd like to call it. And to do all this, plus a couple bonus expeditions that we've included in the cost if need be, because we think we're not going to find everything this way and we need a security margin. For
Yeah.
all this, we need 60K. But with 30K, we can do a lot of this. And while doing this lot, we can look for the rest maybe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the most important period will be September, because we're still missing some species that I think are best found at the end of September, beginning of October.
Mm.
So we're highly anticipating this period. But yes, I would say 30K. Once we have the 30K, we can keep going. And we also know that we keep doing the project. If we do not
Mm.
have them, I'm not sure yet how we handle it,
Mhm.
but I know it's going to be tricky to
Okay.
keep financing this on our own. And maybe it doesn't make sense.
Mm. Okay, so people really need to support and spread the word of this amazing project.
But also, I'm confident that it will work out
Mm.
faster, slower, whatever. At the end of the day, I think we're doing a cool job.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, and also, maybe for us as young people, this is a lot of money. But
Yeah.
truth is, this is peanuts compared to what people spend on daily basis. I'm not talking about like you and me, but
Mm.
there's a bunch of people who just fart 60K, I think.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
this is
which
more a
is
matter of
crazy.
finding the people than finding them the money, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, true. That's true.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, so to be honest, I'm like getting super tired.
Yeah, I can see, man.
Yeah,
I can
Yeah.
see.
sorry about
Okay.
that. But I
Nah,
think
no problem.
do you have like anything else to close it up, or do you want to say anything more
Hmm.
about it? Because I think we have
Hey,
covered a
for
lot of it.
true, yes. Maybe for anyone who's still listening, because I'm not sure who makes it to the deep end of the podcast. Get in touch, talk to us,
Mm.
give us your feedback, give us your ideas. Just say hi. It's always nice to meet people. If you're someone who would like to sponsor the project, the website will be up by the time this podcast is online. If you have a company, if you have something a bit more professional that you're a private person, we are always looking for sponsors. So maybe we can find and make a deal. And yeah, please visit the website. Okay, so it will be fauna-morocco.org. And the idea is there is no reason why we wouldn't be the first ones to pop up on Google when people type
Yeah.
Mm.
fauna Morocco or wildlife
Yeah.
Morocco, animals Morocco. But for that to happen, we need people to visit the website.
Mm.
So visit the website, type Google fauna Morocco, you will find it, go on it, explore the website, get in touch, and let's make this happen. That's how I would phrase it.
Nice.
Because I
Yeah.
think what we're doing is freaking cool, and I think we can all do it together. and I enjoy it. I think the guys from the podcast enjoy it, and I think everyone should enjoy it as much as we do because this is fun to enjoy. But one thing that I think very deeply is that it's not about just finding the money and finding ways to keep this going. It's also, for me, a way of creating a public for this project, for my work in just my photography in general. And that's what's more important for me, not only to have the money, because for instance, if a foundation gives us the 60K, well, we're happy, but we failed at spreading the word and finding public. So I think it's more important if we can find, I don't know, 600 people who give us $100. I would like it way more than if we were to find 2 people. This will be a lot of stress, of course, because money will come slower, but it's all about creating a community, about the shared idea, a shared project, maybe, at least in the mind. And maybe that was something very important to add to the podcast, at least in my honest opinion.
Man, that's the best ending. I couldn't do it better.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you're half dead behind the mic anyways.
But not because of this project.
No, but it's amazing. I'm really looking forward to see how this whole thing develops, and I'm really hoping that we're getting you to raise the money because I would love
Yeah,
to
thanks.
see this whole thing.
That's also, yeah, as I said in the last episode, it's also thanks to you guys because we've connected pretty quickly. You created so many opportunities for me. I don't know, it's cool to grow together. Because when I met you, I mean, yeah, you got bitten by the lepidophyma, we had fun, but I didn't know, for instance, that you would start a podcast 2 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No time
But I mean, that's friendship, man.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, people. So thank you for listening. Definitely check out Rayane, check out the project, interact, Google this website that they get traffic, spread the word. And yeah, thank you for listening and being a part of this whole journey.
Yeah. All
Peace
right.
out.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
And Flo is going
Bye-bye.
to die on the mic.